The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror films ever made. Anyway, moving on to today's film, Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Making a sequel to the 1973 critical and audience hit may seem like an impossible task. Actually, it shouldn't be that impossible, really. I mean, the foundation is already there. You need a possessed person, a priest, some creepy makeup, some vomit, a lot of scares. Oh, welcome back, what the fuck, Hollywood. How I missed you so. Exorcist 2, The Heretic is a movie that pretty much defines the term, interesting. And go figure, it has an, interesting backstory. With absolutely no input from the original film's director William Friedkin or its author William Peter Blatty, Exorcist 2 did start out as more of a cynical attempt to just recreate the story of the original, but with a tiny budget. Things changed, though, when a more metaphysical screenplay was written by William Goodhart, and director John Boorman was brought on as the film's director. How weird could the movie get? Well, let's look at a trailer for Boorman's previous film. I don't see how this movie could go wrong. Aside from Boorman calling the original film's story repulsive, and even tearing apart some of Goodhart's script and adding newer bits of nonsense, now we can see what the results are like from a very ambitious filmmaker making a sequel to a movie that he didn't even like. Okay, but to be fair, the people who made those quotes have probably seen 0 movies with E.T. getting fucked. The opening credits are very uneasy. I think you can hear the editor making noises in the background. No wonder this movie is so bonkers. It's edited by a witch! Leave it to John Boorman to still take full responsibility for this project. He loves the movie so much, he put his damn cat in it. And I do not understand why so many people put their cats in their projects. They try convincing you that Satan himself didn't edit this film by putting the word priest in the editor's name. Nice try. Maybe the writer has too good of a heart to make a movie about pure evil. His name is literally Goodhart. I'm running out of ways to make fun of these people's names. The director's last name has the word Boar in it. This is already jumping the shark. We open with Richard Burton as Father Lamont touring the future world from the Terminator.
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué tuve que ser yo?
Oh my god, she's speaking in tongues. What do I say? Everyone begins to panic when he realizes it was gasoline he sprinkled on her. And soak it in, this is one of the few exorcism scenes in a movie called Exorcist 2. Creepy. Hilarious and over the top, but a little creepy. I wonder what they're gonna cut to next. What the hell? Meanwhile, in a chorus line. This scene only exists to show us that, yes, Linda Blair is more than a 10. She's a perfect 22. She's also 16, Snob. It's 4 years after the events of the original Exorcist, and Regan McNeil is seeking treatment in a Hall of Mirrors funhouse. Louise Fletcher is her doctor, Jean Tuskin, and I'm sure they have a lot of things to talk about.
What's happening?
not much.
This isn't a very sound foundation for a sequel. And considering the last time she was put in charge of patients, she did this to R.P. McMurphy.
Reagan, why don't you tell me the truth? Don't you trust me?
No, Miss Ratched, I don't trust you. You were gonna tell Billy Bibbitt's mom that he slept with a woman, and I think we all know what happened afterwards. Things seem to go relatively normal, and then this machine turns up.
It can put us in a deep state of hypnosis, and you'd be very relaxed and very comfortable. And then we could look at those bad dreams together.
I'd like to see another doctor now. That's kind of the movie in a nutshell. Things seem normal, and then this machine turns up. But it's also a detective story, as Father Lamont is put in charge of heading the investigation on what happened to Father Marin in the previous film. Nothing like waiting 4 years to start that case. Then again, it probably took the Bishop 4 years to get his outfit on. And do you want to be taking orders in a building where the secret door is on the horse's ass? Not like that's any better than the doctor's office, given that it houses a lot of people with learning disorders. Good thing they put their base in the most confusing Rubik's Cube of a room. I'm just saying, it's weird that they put their offices on a spaceship. This whole place looks like it was made to challenge the cinematographer not to get the camera reflection in the shot. Wait, where'd the lights in the background go? The fuck is going on here? And what's with the spaghetti western music?
You realize what you're up against, don't you?
I don't understand the music choices. Oh, I get it now. Well, that's a huge spoiler. Now I know the demon is going to be defeated by Clint Eastwood shooting him and then taking the gold from the unmarked grave next to Arch Stanton's. She's right not to use this silly device, unless she changes her mind.
Gene, I've changed her mind. I'd like to try that machine after all.
Look, you probably shouldn't use the Simeon with the priest here. This machine makes me think of mac and cheese. No, not the food mac and cheese.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you, buddy. You're a genius.
Oh, yeah? Well, then how come I can't get my VCR to stop blinking 12 o'clock?
This was filmmaking's first attempt at hypnotizing the audience into liking it. It didn't quite work. In fact, it gave them this face. The person who really looks hypnotized is poor Richard Burton, who spends 90% of the scene not saying anything, let alone fucking moving a muscle. Then again, he was very drunk on set. Very, very drunk. But I'm not judging. Others considered for the role of Father Lamont were Christopher Walken, Jack Nicholson, and David Carradine. Any of those three would have turned this from worst sequel ever made to best sequel ever made. Not really sure what this machine is doing to Fletcher, but suddenly she thinks it's a really good idea to do Grizzly too. Burton tags in with the power of Rumpelmints. He knows exactly what to do, which is weird seeing how it's the first time he's seen this machine. Then again, this isn't the first time a drunken Richard Burton creepily stares at a woman groping another woman's chest. Unfortunately, their mind is too weak, so in the flashbacks, Reagan needed a body double instead. Actually, that's because one of Linda Blair's requests upon doing the movie was that she didn't want to go through heavy makeup like in the first film. Which is sort of like if Kane Hodder wanted to reprise his role as Jason, but refused to wear the hockey mask. And here I thought this scene was gonna get weird. It's only a couple of hands fighting over control of a human heart. It's like Thumb Wars, but with a pumping heart. Burton is staring at this like he's staring at a burrito at the long end of a hall where the floor is made of melted cheese. Well, that was a close one, I guess. There's still a problem. Burton's roaming soul is still haunting her over her shoulder. No matter, let's get back to the set of Cube 2, Hypercube. I want to know what they're talking about, but what the fuck is going on back there? Are they building a swing set for a giant? Oh, ha ha, this place is full of nuts. Very subtle. As subtle as Richard Burton literally looking at the camera and giving the audience his opinion of the film.
It was horrible. Utterly horrible. And fascinating.
You forgot random. Or maybe they didn't. Even her paperwork says the word random. The demon seems to have given Reagan fantastic art skills in a horrifying way.
What does it mean?
It's you. She draws well.
Yeah, sure, if you compare her artistic skills to that statue of Lucille Ball. Somehow, because of this drawing, Father Lamont instantly knows that there's a fire in the basement. There, hit it with a crutch. That'll make it better. I think my crutch is only making it worse. Reagan sits comfortable at home, and while she may not be possessed, the demon left her with 6 stomachs. Haha, fuck you, set designer. No camera in the shot here either. Granted, after an experience like this, you're likely to have some weird dreams.
Come, Reagan. We're going flying.
I think we all know what's gonna happen next. That's right, giant locust. Because being possessed leaves you with recurring dreams of a lost Irwin Allen disaster film. Actually, I fooled you all along. This isn't a sequel to The Exorcist, it's a sequel to Day of the Locust. I haven't seen Day of the Locust, but from the title, it is obviously about a deadly locust invasion. Suddenly it became a terrible idea to put the formerly demon-possessed girl on the top floor of a high-rise when she has recurring dreams of flying. Kitty Wynn returns to the film as Sharon, Chris McNeil's assistant from the first film.
Where you going, Sharon?
Washington. I'll be back in a few hours.
Washington?
Just some things your mother didn't have time to do before she went on location.
Like agree to be in Exorcist 2. Thankfully, the set of the original film agreed to appear in the sequel.
You'd better see where it happened.
Or I could just rent the first film. I see one thing wrong with this room. It has bugs. Here, catch it in this giant nut. Even the extras are putting in their 2 cents.
Is there any point going on?
Sorta reminds me about how one of the FAQs on the movie's IMDb page is simply, ugh, how does it end? Sorry, I'm talking over the small talk. It's only because I don't care.
You seem to manage. Your heart is good.
Yeah, they said the same thing about the screenwriter. Now you're stuck with a movie starring this goddamn machine. At least she dreams in beautiful cinematography, even if some of it's gross. Yet we do learn the demon's name.
I am Pazuzu.
Creepy possessed child saying Pazuzu when covered in locusts? A little unsettling.
Pazuzu. Pazuzu.
A drunken Richard Burton saying Pazuzu? Not so unsettling. Okay, maybe it's a little unsettling, but only because someone really needs to bring him some black coffee. As we learn in this vision, it's easy to cure the boy of his demons. Just tie him up between a couple of mountains. Who cares if we lose some men along the way in this hilariously long and gravity-defying slow death? Oh no! He's stuck! Well, since tying him to the mountain didn't work, let's just yank out those wisdom teeth. This seems to be working. And now he has a fantastic gig starring as the Lion King on Broadway. Listen to that voice. It's beautiful. And Pazuzu was the cameraman the whole time.
I could claim for Kumu even now. I'll show you power.
And he's also Eartha Kitt.
Come, fly the teeth of the wind. Share my wings.
And by wings, I mean locust wings. Where did you think we were going with this? This had better be a long setup for a fight with Godzilla. Even the animals are running from your film. I'm just saying the animals can sense a bad sequel, which is why the cat didn't return for Pet Sematary 2. Everyone is very scared, but only one person can stand against him. Darth Vader with the voice of a leopard. I mean, duh.
What was it?
A leopard. He jumped right at me.
I think you're oversimplifying your vision. A man fell to his death, and James Earl Jones stopped a runaway cameraman. Doesn't matter, the lights have gone out in the background again, and the kids seem to be tearing apart the set. And if ever there was a line or a situation that is impossible for someone in my line of work to make a wisecrack about... Why are you cutting back to me? I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
I was possessed by a demon.
There! That I can work with. Everyone is amazed that Reagan got the girl to start talking, but I think it has more to do with the seal statue balancing a hat. At this point, Burton doesn't even wait for others to finish their lines.
Gene?
Now I don't want to hear any of your wild speculations.
She entered that child's mind and got her talking.
He wants out of this so bad he'll speed read his lines over the others if he has to. And is it too much for him to say, "Aw, nuts," in this shot? Since the budget isn't big enough to send both Burton and Blair to Africa, here, this museum will work. The more they talk about mind control in this film, the less I want to know what's on anyone's mind.
In fact, a French priest tired to shut down, thought that we'd all come together eventually in some sort of mental telepathy. A kind of world mind.
I've heard of this cult. I think HBO just aired a documentary about it. Amazingly, the museum has a display of her fucking dream sequence.
That's it?
That's where Father Maron fought Pazuzu.
You know, when you put it like that, you're making even the first one sound stupid. And I don't think he fought Pazuzu in a museum exhibit. Father Lamont sets out to Africa to find the boy who was possessed, who is now an adult, and... what's his name?
Kokumo.
Soon to be seen in his own sequel, Kokumo the Return. Forget all that, though. Here's Linda Blair doing her own stunts by standing at the edge of a building. Because fuck it, art! And it is a very beautiful shot. Much better than Jesus giving his, even I'm giving up on this, face. Burton just realized he forgot to pack his apple schnapps in his luggage. They got him covered. He chose poorly. I mean, when he agreed to do this movie, he chose his scripts poorly. But back to the rooftop, because the design of it is way more interesting. Is this thing designed to blind people across the street with the sun? I think the beautiful set design is just to distract us from the dialogue.
Reagan, is that why you haven't been coming to see me? Because I won't let you go into sync?
Yes.
Because none of it makes sense! All I know is that the camera is yet to appear in the background, and I don't really think Richard Burton is climbing down that mountain. He's searching for the body of the monk who fell, and after cutting to Mirror Roof, I don't know what randomness they could cut to next. Oh, obviously, this scene of Richard Burton searching for the corpse of a monk in Africa was just reminding me of the lullaby of Broadway. Oh, thank God, he's still alive. But once they find out Lamont used mind powers to find the body, they scare him off by stoning him, and simultaneously Reagan's show gets a hell of a lot more interesting.
Please don't drug me.
I think it's a little late for that. She also was stoned. Just when I thought this couldn't get any weirder, the flying nun shows up. Actually, it's Ned Beatty carrying a giant cross. The flying nun would have been less random.
Edward's my name. Ecumenical Edwards, they call me.
Philip Lamont, archaeologist.
It's nice to know you, Father.
I'm glad that scene was in the movie. I'm envious of Reagan right now, fast asleep inside of a light-bright machine, not having to watch these scenes of Father Lamont walking and walking and walking, but admittedly very nicely framed walking. And then they ruin it by talking.
Pazuzu, prince of the evil spirits of the air, take me to Kokumo.
He actually means Kokomo. He's very drunk on Caribbean rum and needs to sing some Beach Boys. Never mind, they're both just on a lot of acid, as were the people who made this movie. Don't believe me? They just put James Earl Jones in a locust costume.
I saw you in the mind of a girl who was possessed by Pazuzu.
Okay, even the guy dressed as a locust thinks that's a little much. Lamont must prove his worth by walking over a bed of nails. Well, he's just convinced me. I'll do anything the locust man asks. Oh, he forgot. In the Latin alphabet, Jehovah begins with an I. Well, at least in reality, Kokumo dresses a little more professionally, though it looks like he forgot to take his makeup off from his Cats audition.
He died while exorcising the demon Pazuzu from a young girl. Were you ever
possessed by Pazuzu?
Next you're gonna tell me I like wearing a locust costume. No, I just collect them for fun, in case I ever wanted to make a disaster movie. I see a lot of science and biology going on here. I'm sure there's a lot of big words that are gonna be used.
We like to call her the good locust.
Well, these doctors may be smart, but they're not very original. The editing here is a little weird. It looks like Reagan leaves the hospital and then takes a plane in order to exit the front door. And that wouldn't be the most unrealistic thing in this. I'm just now starting to figure out that all of this has been taking place inside the tabernacle from Zardoz. What do you think of this shirt? I got it at an Ethiopian airport. Having just returned from his vacation, of course he wants to go to the museum again.
Did you find the man with the leopard?
I did.
Did he tell you how to fight Pazuzu?
That silly question has stunned the elephant so much he's frozen stiff. Just like younger women and older men always did in the 70s, they rent cheap hotel rooms so they can play with their mind control devices in peace. Amazing how this movie relies heavily on people's thoughts, and yet no one involved thought this was a stupid idea. Their visions are like looking at the first one through broken glass, which, again, kind of sums up this movie. In fact, at one point, I'm pretty sure Burton just leaves. Not because he has to go to the bathroom, not because they've wrapped shooting, but just walks away from the movie. Fuck it, you had me at locust costumes and mind control devices, but this shirt is just too much. I'm walking the fuck out of here. Or maybe Lamont is a zombie now. It's when he starts chanting, "I must kill Frank Drebin," that you really need to start worrying. Thank God there's other people who are concerned for Reagan.
Stupid bitch.
Was that supposed to be in the movie? This would be weird if he wasn't already acting like this throughout the entire movie. That is, when he's not being unnecessarily creepy.
Leave her alone. She belongs to me.
I see nothing wrong here. Carry on, sir. But throughout all this bizarre horse shit, at the end of the day, it is a film directed by John Boorman, so... It is a beautiful looking movie. If you watch this on mute, you got yourself a 4-star looking production. Hell, the set design and cinematography may even top the first one in terms of style. But whereas the first one didn't need to look like a Kubrick film to be scary, this film thinks that looking like a Kubrick film will make people forget that it's not scary. Except, again, when Richard Burton says something creepy.
Get going. The girl has to get home.
And that's just them returning from the set that day. They returned to the house from the first film, and the locusts have been waiting to yell surprise for at least 4 birthdays. Makes you wonder why they took a plane. They could have just flown with the locusts. Then you wouldn't have crashed into the house and forced to say stupid lines.
This thing. Name it. Pazuzu.
There, you made me say the stupid name. Are you happy? Inside, they have it better. They're literally walking into a much better movie, albeit with an obvious stand-in. She won't put the demon makeup on, so fuck it. Scratch the green and give her some creepy eyes. Sweet statutory, she's a demon. There's also no Dana, there's only Zool. No wonder the car crashed into the house. These two stories are fighting over how batshit they get. Because why not? We still have some fire left over from the opening scene. I sure hope they explain all of this.
Once the wings have brushed you, you're mine forever.
You'll break the chain reaction.
Oh, I get it. They're not gonna explain shit! I like how the neighbors just mind their own business when a car crashes into a house. Well, except for the friendly neighborhood watch locust. And I thought the first movie I'd watch this year to have people swarmed with bugs and a giant fan would be City of the Living Dead. Turns out to defeat the demon, you must rip out the heart and replace it with solid gold and reenact Toto's Africa music video. Who thought this would be scary? Apparently that house had the best fucking view of the entire city. It's almost over. Might as well give the movie its last rites. Does anyone know what happened here? There were locusts, there was fire, and the house fell apart.
I understand now.
Stop lying! No one understands this.
The world won't. Not yet.
Why do I have the feeling that's what the editor told Borman before the movie was released? I understand the movie, but the world won't. Not yet. Now they're off to solve more mysteries and bang in a seedy hotel room. And you were the slowest motherfuckers in the entire city. Sure, a lot of crazy shit happened 10 minutes ago. Well, needless to say, that didn't go over well. While a colossal critical failure and commercial disappointment, the movie technically turned in a profit, bringing in $30 million against a $14 million budget. And that's even with Borman pulling the movie out of theaters to re-edit it, then re-release it with audiences still hating it. Even Borman expressed a little bit of regret, stating in a 2005 interview that I wanted a film about journeys that were positive and good. Oops. Addressing the, as he put it, ugliness and darkness of the original Exorcist, Borman then stated, I didn't want to make a movie about torturing a child. It's like the studio hired someone who was intentionally trying to sabotage his interview. And I think there's a little more to The Exorcist than child torture. That's like saying I don't want to do a sequel to Psycho because I don't like tearing apart shower curtains. In the end, he did admit I denied the audience what they wanted, and they were pissed about it. But is it one of the worst sequels of all time? In terms of filmmaking, no. It has ideas, it's ambitious, it's not a copycat of the original film, but in terms of what audiences wanted, and probably deserved, yeah, it might be one of the worst sequels. It's almost an anti-sequel in a way. I know audiences don't want this, but I'm gonna give it to them anyway. But all of that doesn't matter, because Pauline Kael said it was better than the original, and so it is. Look at it like this. If The Exorcist is a very stable 40-year marriage, then Exorcist 2 is like a hot trophy wife. It's incredibly gorgeous, but it might have brain damage, and it'll lose you some money. Lesson learned. If you ever set out to make a sequel to a horror film, then you should probably make a horror film.
Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Comment?